This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, the time being 4:45 p.m., I'd like to call the meeting of May 15th, 2025 to order. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's see. So we got some documents in the red folder going around. Well, first thing, we have the minutes. I'd like to bring the minutes of May 1st, 2025 to the table.
Mr. Chairman, that's the second one, May 8th and May 21st.
Yeah, I
are
was
in there.
going to do them one at a time.
And May 1st, I'm sorry. May 1st is the one you sent back.
May 1st, 2025.
Thank you.
You all set, Pat?
I am.
Okay. Does anybody else
I'm all
need
set.
more time? All good? Anybody want, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as written, if anybody wants to make that. I will make that myself. Motion to accept the minutes as written for Thursday, May 1st, 2025 minutes.
Second.
And we have a second. Any comments, suggestions, or all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. The next minutes we have are May 8th.
Half a page.
Motion to accept the minutes of May 8th.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved.
Mr. Chairman, might I just add, on the agenda near the bottom under the non-public, yours truly, extra large fingered the numbers. It should read 91, non-public New Hampshire RSA 91A, capital A, colon 2, small c. And it reads 81A. So might have been my glasses.
And that was on the,
Agenda,
oh, okay.
just to bring it to the board's attention.
So it should be 91A3. Okay, on the. Thank you. Okay, do we have any announcements anybody want to make?
Nothing, Mr. Chairman, I believe, other than Memorial Day is coming up. We did get the DPW, thankfully, got the flags downtown. So we're still looking for the bunting for the building. We haven't found it yet, but I know who to call.
So being 5, a little early, discussion review of the Island Bridge.
Yeah, might I take a moment, Mr. Chairman, just to introduce Tim and Meg Dansereau from the AM Groton Bridge Company. Tim, these are our selectmen. They all have name tags, but Pat Constantino and Meg on the end, John Hanson, John Scanlon, who is our chair tonight and vice chair, and Catherine Dawson is on this end. We will ask you to join us or join them at the table when we begin. And missing tonight, so you're aware, is our chairman, Eric Adams. And also, I know Tim knows our DPW director, Shane Dowmeg, but he's right behind you. And obviously, you guys know Tim as well. So, Mr. Chairman, the purpose of the meeting was they were going to come to the last meeting. So if I could take the liberty just to talk about a couple of things.
Sure,
What,
go ahead.
One is we discussed a performance bond, which the board wanted in addition to the contract. Meg, I did provide that to the board in an email with a copy of the contract so you could look at it for tonight, and a copy of the performance bond. So the board, Meg and Tim are here to ask and answer any questions that the board has. Tim Pearson gave me some very good news today that he got an email from Washington, our contact for the National Parks Foundation in the grant program there, that we have no answer yet, but that we are moving up on the schedule. And I think it said, Tim, that we might have approval as soon as June 1st. So, and one final message today, I did speak with a reporter from the Concord Monitor who's done a story on previous stories on the bridge and the fact that it's been disabled. And after talking with Chairman Adams, he asked me to reach out to this guy and just, he wants to do a follow-up story. So I did speak on behalf of the board that the board, in fact, I gave him the name of the company that we have elected as the sole source provider to do the repairs. I explained to them what I've explained to the board in the past, the plan to move forward and that stuff. Obviously, we can't do anything until grant approval. And then I did ad lib, as you might suspect I commonly do, and say, we're hoping that we can get this done by, get it complete and back in place by the time Senator Shaheen is prepared to retire, because she did shepherd through the grant process for us, and we'd like to have a little grand opening and a thank you to her. So, but the reporter was very appreciative and just wanted to do a follow-up, and will continue. I did tell him we're meeting tonight, so he may call me tomorrow and ask if we signed a contract. I told him that totally is a board decision, so
Sure.
just so you're aware. So.
Okay, you folks, look, come on down.
Man, I just pushed the paper.
So,
Is there a copy of the contract on the table? Do we have one?
The
In our
original's
folder
in the
anywhere?
back.
I have one with me if you'd like to look at it.
Should
Should be in the binder.
It's in the back of the binder.
Very back.
I looked through
Yeah, okay.
quickly, but
Tim, can you hit another print copy?
Yeah.
I think
We'll just. It should be.
um, you know me in binders.
I'm not seeing. Do you have a copy
Thank
of that?
you.
I'm checking on my
That's
email
what
now.
This is our approval from our
that's-
bond company. They can't issue a bond until we have a contract, but they did issue an approval, and they gave us a really good rate.
Yeah, this is different from what I have.
Which
I
one?
suspect this is all.
I might not have it.
You don't have it?
I have no December and November.
Yeah,
Okay. Tim's making more copies. I did
That one's
email
dated
it to you
December, isn't
as
it,
well,
Catherine?
but. I
'Cause
went
that's when we
with,
last met.
Yes.
Is it the original, Tim, from
But
December
I,
10th?
like I said, I have
Okay.
It
this
is?
letter, but I don't have this.
Yeah, I think that's the proposal.
That is. So this is what I was looking for.
What's the date on that, Catherine?
should be
It's December 10th.
December 10th.
That's
Yeah.
the most.
That's most recent, okay.
like November.
That was a draft because we obviously didn't have all the details yet, so we drafted up a.
Put that header.
Well, one says December 10th and one says November 20th.
December 10th is
I
the
get
one.
November.
December 10th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just one piece of paper. Yeah, I do. Because that's not what I
I'll
have.
take it easy to read off that than my phone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim.
Tim, did you give them out?
Thank you.
Well,
I didn't hand that out.
It was on the mic.
We didn't end up printing that out,
okay,
since it's just
Right.
okay.
more the payment schedule. and
Right.
stages.
Tim, we had a number on the performance bond, right?
Number?
Yeah.
So per RSA, because of the amount of this contract, my understanding is that it would be 3% of the total amount.
2.5.
2.5?
They gave
2.5?
us 2.5.
Oh, even
They're
better.
really good.
That's even better, yeah.
So the 3% was 15,360. So
12.80, I think.
it'd be
Yeah, 12,800.
12,800. Perfect.
Nice.
That's great.
So
So it'd be 524,800 would be the total cost.
524 what?
800.
Well, I think that's terrific.
Well, I appreciate the work that Scott did in contacting you folks.
yeah,
We've heard, and I know I have over the years, the different projects that AM Granton has worked on, and pretty impressive things, restoring a lot of historical things in the state of New Hampshire.
yeah,
Maybe you could go over that a little bit, because some of the public's here, and a little bit about yourselves
yeah. I
and
can.
the project.
Is this picking me up? Right. Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
So yeah, our company started in 1955. Arnold Grayton and his father started restoring covered bridges. They were most of them around 100 years old. So that's how the company started. Um, and over the past half century, and now with me taking over the company for the future, we're still doing historic restoration all over the country, not just in New Hampshire. We our most recent project was 2 covered bridges in Kentucky, and now we're home for the summer, and we're doing a lot of house jacking and things of that nature, a lot of fill-in work. Trying to take a break from being on the road, so that's what our company's doing right now. But yeah, we've been all up and down the eastern seaboard doing historic restoration on both steel and wooden covered bridges. So yeah, we do quite a bit, and
Done a lot of historic work in New Hampshire. We
yeah,
put wooden bridges on Government's Trail at Mount Washington a couple of years ago. Tim restored 3 fire towers here and
yeah,
one on Mount Kearsarge, which was really something else, trying to
We've-
get up Mount Kearsarge with all the,
we've done a lot for the Forest Service. They call us at least once a year, it seems, for some kind of specialty project, whether it's with us or we work closely with Mike LaTulip. He's another local contractor that's been around for a long, long time. His family. So yeah, we're pretty well known for doing the difficult things and the stuff that people don't necessarily want to do because it's just out of their comfort zone. So
Mhm.
that's sort of what we specialize in, is everything that's difficult. So I know when Scott first contacted me about this job, I think we were working on Sillyville Bridge over in Andover, and I think he had a contact. Is that Roland Carter?
Roland Carter, right.
yeah.
Roland
You know
Carter.
him, Catherine. Roland, yeah.
Yeah.
Leonard Rowan.
So he's a great guy, and so just
Great guy.
networking got us here. He does all my undercarriage parts for all my heavy equipment and things like that. So he's on the select board for Andover, and we went over and rescued that bridge. It was falling into the river. One of the abutments failed on it. So that,
Literally.
yeah, that's another one that,
Well, we did that out of the goodness of our hearts because we don't
yeah, we didn't want to see
want to see it go.
yeah, it was about to fall in. So we just went and saved it.
Short it up so that it won't go.
They're
into
trying to
our-
get funding together, but it's not going well. So,
Yeah, funding is a long project. I think we've
Yeah.
been going 5 years almost. We've been
Almost
discussing
4 years, right?
4 years.
Yeah.
For funding.
time.
yeah, on the federal end of stuff, when we do federal projects like the ones in Kentucky, those are federal money, and then they allocate it to the Commonwealth, and then they allocate it to the county, then the county allocates it to the Covered Bridge Authority. So those ones are, I think, upwards of 10 years by the time the funding gets to where they can use it. So
Still do a lot of work in New Hampshire on covered bridges too.
Yeah.
Whenever it's a bridge that was Mr. Grayton's or the bridge that we've worked on, they call us if there's a truck
Yeah.
goes through it or it needs general repairs.
yeah,
or
most
whatever.
recently we worked in Lancaster. What a mess. They have 2 covered bridges within 5 miles of each other, and on Route 100 that runs along the Connecticut River on the Vermont side, they had a mail truck that went through one bridge and took out all the knee braces and portal siding and everything, and then they proceeded through town and hit their other bridge and did some serious damage on that one. Took the top of the truck right off. So yeah, anytime there's a problem with a bridge in New Hampshire, especially when it's something specialized, they call us and say, what do we do? We say, oh,
The Blair Covered Bridge in
Come
Canton
fix
is
it.
one of the largest in New Hampshire. We restored that in 2012. Tim was the lead on that project, and that gets hit once a year.
Yeah.
Someone drives, it's a 365-foot bridge. They drive through it and take down all the overhead bracing.
Hmm.
And they call us and say, we've got a pattern for it now. We say,
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
we'll just
We have
knock with
those
the
in
jigs
stock,
and
yeah.
take care of it.
tough.
So,
So
That's us.
So now,
have any
this is
questions?
going to be in how many days running to fix this?
So it's a little bit complicated to read it, and so I'll just explain the sort of overall scope. Is we're going to come in, take the deck off, which that's listed. Once we remove the deck, we'll crane it off from the river and take it back to our shop where we can do the work on it. Because the permitting process to do one of these projects over the water it's almost impossible at this point, especially with all the regulations on paint and things like that. They just don't want it near water. So we remove the bridge, bring it to our shop, do all the metal fabrication there, painting, reassemble, and then we bring it back, set it on, all done, put a new deck. And the duration of that project is 365 days from the start date. So if we decide, last time I met with Scott, or maybe had a phone conversation, we were talking about starting after bike week, anytime after there, but obviously funding is the driving force behind schedule. So we'll just have to see when funding lands, then we can set a contract start date and get the bridge going. But as far as on site, we'll probably only spend a few weeks in the town of Tilton working on the bridge, because I know that's a concern for a lot of the people in town, because there's no room to work there. It's a very tight job site right on the road. So
But a year, we could have our bridge back.
yeah, yep, that's the
That's
idea.
That is exciting.
Yep.
It's going to
very
take time to
exciting.
take it apart and
Mhm.
have new pieces made that need to go in there. Some of that iron and stuff.
Yeah.
Those will have to be,
Yeah,
made up.
the longest part of the process is casting new pieces for the cast iron uprights,
Mhm.
those ornamental pieces. The rest of it we can make pretty easily, but we have to actually have sand casts made for those ornamental uprights, and that takes months. So through the winter, we'll get it disassembled this summer, and then through the winter we'll have those pieces made. And
So one of the things, I don't know if after it's complete, if you can supply us with the suggested maintenance schedule for it.
yeah,
So that in the future, it can be maintained properly and
Yep.
How to do it.
yeah,
I think some of the stuff, perhaps the Public Works Department can do if it's, if
Yeah.
they have a good,
One, I was thinking about the maintenance, because we always get asked that question on every project, whether it's a barn or a bridge or a house, whatever we're working on, they ask for a maintenance schedule. And one thing I wasn't sure of on this is, do you shut the island down during the winter? Is that, or does it stay open?
No, it stays open.
yeah.
So one thing that we'd have to look at is keeping salt off from the bridge
Right.
for maintenance, because that is,
The
the
key.
key. And the side nearest the road is the side that needs the most work, because when the state plows go by, the road chemicals, salt, and whatever they're using most recently that's what tends to eat the steel. And um, so really just cleaning the end closest to the road is going to be a paramount maintenance concern. So, it's pretty simple. Just keep it clean and it should last a really long time. So, once a year cleaning is what we recommend on all of our bridges. So
Just once a year.
yeah,
I was
just
gonna say.
get the salt off in the spring, and that's, because
State's
that's,
now using that slurry mix, so
yeah,
you know it's gonna
yeah. New York is using an
splash right
actual
on it.
a brine mix now, which sticks to everything.
That's right.
They got it from Wisconsin. It's cheese based. I mean, it's so sticky.
The moose will be eating that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I think would you call it the abutment, the footings where it sets,
Yep.
Sand and silt collect there.
Yeah.
Um,
Mostly on the road side, not so much on the island side, but yeah, just blowing those out, keeping the leaves and debris out, which would be, we'd list out the cleaning procedure. It's pretty simple. Pressure wash it and then blow out any remaining debris, and that's,
Like anything else, if you keep it clean, it won't rot. That
Yeah.
we go around and do some of our covered bridges on a regular basis because the sand and the dirt get down inside into those cords.
all
and
the
they
moisture.
rot.
yeah, we have contracts with quite a few municipalities in New Hampshire where we do yearly cleanings.
Just need a pressure washer and a compressor.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody have any more questions or
There
discussion?
was some talk that the I'm going to call it abutment on the Route 3 side
Hmm.
needed work, but do I remember a letter came from your company that said they'd looked at it and
Yeah.
that wasn't so?
So I went down and inspected all the abutments in person, and I saw that some rocks had shifted in 1993. And a good friend of ours, a state historian, Jim Garvin, was the one that did the report on that. And that was provided in the report. Forgive me, I cannot remember the name of the
Island report.
Tilton Island report. I can't remember the name of the engineers. They inspected it and said that those repairs are still good, and I agree. And I talked to Jim Garvin about it, and he said, yeah, those rocks had shifted and they were repointed, and I don't see any issue with them now. And I said, if when we get the bridge off, we'll be able to inspect it much better and take a look at the existing concrete pads, and if we decide that those are substandard, we'll replace them, and that's included. There's no extra cost for that if we find that that's needed. So that'll just be a reinforced concrete cap that holds all the rocks together and keeps the moisture out, which moisture in the winter is frost. So that's what moves those rocks
A
around. So
reinforced concrete cap.
on the granite blocks. So it has concrete caps where the bridge sits right
Is the
now.
concrete in those caps?
Offhand, I'd probably say 6 or 8 inches right now.
Okay.
Yeah. But they're isolated. It's not the whole.
Yes.
Usually what we do I know you're from a concrete family. So,
How did he know that?
so when we cap the abutments, whether it's on a open bridge or a covered bridge, we'll cap the whole abutment, which ties all the granite together,
Okay.
and then we'll put a slope on it so that it drains.
It's just okay.
Yeah, but those are pretty small abutments. The area that the bridge actually sits on is maybe only 16 inches by the width of the bridge, so it's not a big
Okay.
cap that we'd be doing. But yeah, does that answer the question, kinda?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does that need to be added into the contract?
No, because when I talked to him, if you want me to put some wording in there that says we'll take care of it, I can. We talked about it. It's really not that big of a deal. It's before we set it back, we'll pour those
We need it.
if we need it. And you're only talking about, it's probably 1.5 yards per side. it's not a lot of work or added cost. So we're just, one thing about our company is we always do what we say for what we're gonna. If we give you a price, that's what we stick to, no matter what. Like we don't do change orders, we don't do the 25% rule like the LPA contracts, and if we have something that runs over, we take care of it. We don't, what's on that contract. We'll make sure that when the project's done, you're happy, and we'll, we're not gonna. That's the way we've done all of our projects, and
We believe in old school work.
yeah, if we tell you we're gonna do it for this price and you're gonna have your bridge back to usable condition for the foreseeable future, that's what you're gonna get. So
Mr. Chairman, if I might just add, Tim, what was that gentleman's name at the town meeting when I explained the company that was doing the bridge and that stuff, and he came up to me after.
Bob King.
Bob King,
Yeah.
he's a resident, and he was like, "Oh, you guys chose Grattan. What a great company. I've worked with them," and just praised their company and their work tremendously. So that was really nice for me to hear that.
well, thank you.
I have heard that in Andover as well,
Yeah.
where these folks have done some work before. So, and I think I shared that with the board when we first entertained you allowing me to contact AM Groton.
So Tim, we have permission to bond $1 million, right?
Right.
Yes.
When does that expire?
In, let's see, 2028, I believe.
Okay. So either way, we can
Right.
fix the bridge.
Right.
And the grant, we're waiting for the federal government to decide. And I don't remember, I apologize. We can't pay for the bridge first.
We can't do any work according to them. We can sign the contract,
That's it.
but we can't commence any work.
Nothing. Can't even remove it.
No.
Okay.
No. And the beginning of June timeframe was one of the phases. So
Okay.
there's going to be several approval phases in this, but this is getting down the road. This was good news because it's been very quiet.
Yes.
So this was good news indeed.
We've been sweating bullets, Tim and I.
Okay.
That's good news.
Yeah, and just to add to that, if we, if you can't get funding in June, our busy season is right now, and then we kind of slow down in July when we catch up, and then we get really busy again in September, October, November. But whatever it ends up being, we'll make it work around your schedule as best we can. So
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
yeah, I know funding is always tricky, so we can be flexible on schedule as far as start date.
And I think we've already discussed with DOT on this thing of how we would arrange for the crane. If there's any preliminary work, we talked about possibly shifting the road a little bit during the work, which
Yeah,
allows for-
diverting the traffic so it could actually close the lanes.
Mhm.
And Cumberland Farms has approved of us. Tim, originally we thought we were going to have to take that little island out
Mhm.
between the entrance and, the entrance and the exit at Cumberland Farms.
Mhm.
But Tim shared with us that the crane is big enough that it can actually, from the parking lot, reach over the lines, take this section out, load it on the truck, and then take the next section out. And Cumberland Farms has been more than gracious. They've offered to even close the store for the day. And I said, well, I don't think that would be necessary. We could cone it and have police there. The chief has agreed to provide police so we could have a traffic direction, keep the traffic moving through Cumberland Farms parking lot so that no pedestrians are unsafe, and the other businesses are there that can still have their business. So And I did further get from Alan Powell, who owns Dr. Mishkon's old office, if you need something, you know, to go through there or something for parking and whatever, we could do that as well. He's graciously offered to let us use his lot there.
So we're gonna have a crane parked in Cumby's parking lot,
Correct.
and the traffic is gonna continue along Route 3?
Well, actually,
I don't
I'm
see
not
any
sure.
room between the
So-
crane and,
I'm not sure where the
Yeah.
crane would be.
So
Tim.
we may have to remove some of that island
Right.
at Cumberland Farms, but we're going to bring in a 475-ton crane,
okay,
and that'll reach across the road. So when we actually do the lifting of the two bridge sections,
traffic stop.
stops for those brief periods, maybe 20 minutes. We lift it over, set it on one of our semis. I'll have 2 trucks staged, and we'll set each section and then let traffic go. Just while we're swinging the bridge over the road, just for safety,
So,
we'll shut
20
the-
minutes of stop traffic.
I'm
On
going to be
Route
doing a
3.
dance with
Should we be
DOT.
prepared when that takes place to send people over through Northfield Bay Hill or up School Street over to 132?
I've had that discussion with the chief, and he's prepared to do that if we need to.
Okay,
And Northfield has been gracious to, I've had a brief discussion with Stephanie, the town administrator. I don't have anything in writing, but if we are going to need to do that, we would coordinate it all ahead of time with DOT, with Northfield, with Chief Gilman. And so
because westbound traffic, you're gonna have to stop at 132.
at 132, correct.
So we're gonna
Yeah.
have police officers
Right,
at those locations.
correct.
And it'll be interesting for the westbound traffic especially,
Right,
because you're not gonna be able to know who's coming straight into town.
right,
Or are we
exactly.
gonna stop them at Lowe's and say, turn around if you'd like?
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
that's what we did when the fatality was up there.
Okay,
We stopped them at Lowe's, turned them around, sent them up in the parking lot, spun them around. And then if you're going to Route 3, you can go that way. You know, Bay Hill,
so I
Or-
gotta have a map.
or you can go back. So we'll publicize and signboard everything
Okay,
very well, including if we need to rent some signage, additional signage. So
okay. So we'll have a small expense there.
Yeah.
Okay,
20 minutes
well,
is pretty quick timing, but
Yeah,
it's
those
20
things can
minutes
be-
on
we
Route
can-
3.
so we can figure 30 minutes.
Yeah, so
Okay,
Anything else?
Answer my question.
And I don't see anybody from the public out there. I'm sure they'll watch.
All set.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very
yeah,
informative.
Mr. Chairman, did we want to approve the contract tonight tentatively based on, we can put language in it for a date, like from this day, today until May 15th, 2026,
well,
or,
I would accept the contract and leave the date hanging.
okay,
I think we
Is-
can work with you on that.
is that
'cause we'll
acceptable?
hear from
Okay.
federal
Yeah.
government
Confirmation of the funding.
around the first part
Yeah.
of June and see what
Important
they're
to get
gonna
it
do.
going.
And then we'll have to decide, are we gonna mess around with that
Right,
or just bond the damn thing?
right.
Is that a motion?
Motion to accept the contract and we'll determine the date based on the federal
Contract dated.
approval on the grant.
Contract dated December 10th, 2024.
Thank you, yes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask the board to authorize you to sign this as the chair and/or Meg has it made out to, it's addressed to me, but, or I could sign this on your behalf with approval. Totally up to you.
It's
Isn't
fine.
there room for the
Yeah.
Board of Selectmen to all sign this? I always feel uncomfortable sticking one head out on the block by itself. Um, But we don't have a date on this.
Right.
I guess
Can we put-
we can sign it without a date on it, without a beginning date. Is that
Right.
agreeable to you?
Yeah,
Work
I
with
know
us on that?
funding is the issue at this point. So
Oh,
whatever it ends up being, we can do a start date then.
Right.
And it can just be an amendment or however you guys would like to do it.
yeah,
There-
we'll have to make a decision come first part of June when we hear from them, whether
Well,
we're going to keep.
If I
waiting.
may, there is a, at the bottom of the
Yeah.
agreement on the first page, there is a contingency clause. But, we will absolutely know definitively by September 1st, if not, long beforehand. But September 1st, the money reverts back to the U.S. Treasury from the grant monies if it hasn't been approved. So that
Could
is.
use that date.
That is the very end date, yeah, for the grant.
So
It says to commence on the respective dates indicated above. When we sign.
right. So we could put
And-
September.
Let's just have our minutes reflect
Okay.
that we're going to work with Groton
Okay.
on that
Okay.
date. Let's
Okay.
have our
To be
minutes
determined.
reflect that we've
Okay.
all agreed, the six of us, to.
Okay. Is that acceptable, Meg?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay.
Should we put on there to be determined?
Yep.
So it doesn't just look blank.
Well, and as soon as we know, we'll let them know.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
Get the bridge working.
I knew you
So
were coming
call
tonight,
the
so I didn't
question.
share.
We'll call the question on the contract and then we'll make a motion who's going to sign
Yeah,
it.
So, yep, was all in favor, no opposed.
Okay, so make a motion that the chair signs the contract for.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? See, I signed the contract for the police department too. I'm wondering about this. Everything is expensive. I put John's name on it.
They're going to be
He's got
coming
nothing to
after you
lose.
when we don't make the payments.
Yeah.
No, I have the
John's fault.
original, Mr. Chairman here. So,
John's vote.
and I can give it to, well, we'll make a copy, Megan, and email it to you tomorrow. So.
This one, yeah.
Is SOV back?
So I'm guessing I would put in here vice chair.
Well, this is a step forward.
What's your chair tonight?
Look this up.
See, thank you, Scott.
Okay. And, yeah,
Copy of that tomorrow.
don't lose that.
Great.
Sure.
Well, this is quite a glorious moment for the town.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
great.
I think Charles Tilton would be
Very
quite
proud.
happy now.
Very proud.
We had discussed many alternatives, putting a different bridge in somewhere, maybe constructing a little footbridge or, tearing the thing down, scrapping it or what. And we're very grateful. And we talked to companies all over the country and find that
Right in our own
sometimes
backyard.
in your own backyard.
Yep.
And,
Our residents
they're-
and taxpayers are going to be delighted.
Yeah,
Yep.
and they already were when they heard
Yeah,
the name. So
yeah.
thank you
A
very
lot
much.
of people are going to be delighted, especially the Sunday night concert group.
Yeah. You may want to be aware of the fact that you'll get a lot of observers too. So the police, I
Yeah.
think we talked about that with the
Yeah.
police.
Oh, I'll be
did.
watching.
Yeah.
People will try to get in just
Yeah.
to watch, which is fine. It's as long as they're
Yeah.
it's controlled.
Well,
because it is
maybe we could,
dangerous.
maybe we could charge and
I was
get
gonna
half.
say, yeah, if you make some money.
We
Set
could
up a booth at
pay
the-
for some of the bridge.
I would suspect we'll probably have a little press there too, so wear your best jeans, Tim.
When Arnold pulled the Corbin Covered Bridge in Newport over the river using oxen, they had over 10,000 people.
Wow.
Wow.
In Newport.
Newport, New Hampshire,
Yeah.
Wow.
had been burned, and he replicated it back in 1994.
Wow.
Burned one over the Connecticut, didn't they?
But say that again, Catherine?
Didn't they burn a covered bridge over the Connecticut a few
A
years back?
They burn them all the time.
Yeah.
few years back. I don't.
Kind of interesting.
There was one in Jay, Vermont that burned.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
That
That was
nothing
one
on
over
the Connecticut.
I like the longest one.
Point of Windsor. It's a beautiful bridge.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you.
All right.
Yeah. So do you need us for anything else? Or we
No.
Good.
Yeah, we're
Thank you
good.
for coming.
Okay.
Great. Thank you
Yes.
for having
Great.
us.
Thank
very
you,
much.
Meg.
We look forward to working with you.
We'll get the chairs, Meg. Don't worry about it. So.
Oh, they're good.
Thank you. Thanks, Tim.
Take care.
Bye, Meg.
Nice to do business with our own companies.
So,
Is-
I just noticed on here, there is a little bit of time for some public comments. If not, if there are any, we'll go right into the town administrator's report.
Okay. May I just bring to your attention, in the folder, there are 8 items,
Skipping over some?
including the property tax warrant, the legal services policy is in there. We can discuss that. I'd like to as part of my talk to you folks tonight and get your opinions. Contract for the Riverfront Park, revised pricing for the town hall, PD and the senior center. The management letter that Tim, I know, is going to cover in his brief description to you, the MS 535, so that we can get, our town clerk can get the tax bills out. There were 2 abatements, I believe. Yes, 2 abatements, and they are approved by Lauren. Just need your signature to address them. And the grant paperwork, Mr. Chairman, for the highway safety grant, as you know from many years before, has multiple signatures. So they don't provide a document for you. You all don't have to sign multiple times, but if the board can authorize language to read similar to this, the select board in a majority vote to accept the terms of the agreement of the safety grant is presented in the amount of, and I believe it's 8,500. And then further to authorize the board to authorize the chairman, vice chairman, who's filling the role as chairman tonight, to sign the grant for approval so we can get it back.
So moved.
Second? I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Perfect,
It's unanimous.
perfect. And I will give you 7 pens, Mr. Chairman, so you can sign away your life, if you would. So,
No, he's already done that. He needs signing away his garage now.
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Well,
Thank
you'll be able to say you own a PD and an island.
Yeah. And a refrigerator box.
And a refrigerator box.
Stay in.
I've asked
Yeah.
Director Dow here tonight. The last couple of meetings, there's been some questions about paving schedule, and there was, again, your town administrator's absent-mindedness. I included that a sole source in my letter to you which I know you all received, and I know Selectman Dawson had read because she caught my mistake in there. I did identify that we had adopted a sole source paver for providing, and did I say that right? Okay. Provider for paving. There we go. And that, in fact, was not accurate. The motion was made, and then it was subsequently withdrawn. So the board had discussed it and relatively agreed that sole source was the best way to go because we can commit them to getting these projects done and not keep calling them back, So Director Dow is prepared to answer your questions as to as for the schedule for paving. It would be my suggestion that we wait till Chairman Adams is back, unless you see otherwise, because the question did get raised, is our per ton cost. Director Dow shared with me today that Jeff from R&D did not get back to him with a tonnage cost. So we don't have that. Jeff did tell us in the past that he would give us the best rate if we in fact made him a sole source for our paving needs this year. So,
Yeah, and that, I believe that was one of the concerns is, what are we looking at for, per ton cost? And I know we worked something out in the past, so I think when all selectmen, because we're kind of binding the whole year,
right,
all selectmen should be present to come to that decision.
right.
So table that for now, if that's okay, for
Wait till next.
the sole
next meeting.
source thing, yeah.
Well, it depends on whether it's going to hold up the paving. When was he going to start?
They're gonna start, well, I talked to him last week, beginning of last week, and that was before we got all the rain, and he said it would be after Memorial Day.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking probably a couple weeks beyond into June.
And he's going to start with Morrison, right?
Yes.
And that's all graded and ready to go.
Not yet.
Well, no, they haven't done anything yet.
You have to rip it up.
Got to rip it up.
Oh, that's right. They've got to
Yep.
rip it out.
Yeah.
I
And
forgot.
then we got to lower the 2 sewer covers and 2 catch basins on the bottom.
Okay.
That's not too bad. I got standbys just in case we can't figure out how to do the sewer because none of us have ever worked with it.
Okay.
And I guess on a same note, when they're going to be doing the Morrison and the storm drains and that drain pipe, I believe, is also connected in to the one that's going to be draining the tower at Lowe's.
Yeah. I'm off tomorrow. I got a graduation, but Pete's going to meet with them up there tomorrow and they're going to discuss, the drainage. Are they going to just let it flow or how they're going to do that? Because there's going to be a lot of water coming down.
Yeah,
From Lowe's.
right now, I just mowed it over there last weekend. It's very wet over there.
Yeah.
Everything, the ground is
Yep.
completely saturated.
Yep.
And in the past, we have had overflows on that.
Yep. Yeah, we've been down there a few times.
If they let that go and it's wet now, it's
it's
going to
gonna be-
go right over to Morrison and nothing flat.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yep,
nothing
it's going to
flat.
right across that whole area down there.
It
They
drained the whole-
intend to drain that
That
into
water
that
tank up,
system.
Yep.
They have to drain the system to
It's
repair.
200
it.
40,000
I understand that,
gallons.
But they're going and that was a question I had is where are they putting this water?
Well,
And so basically it's going into the Winnipesaukee River
Mhm. Yeah.
after it flows through. Now we all experienced the 50-year and 100-year storm event
mm-hmm,
when there was the brown plume into the river.
right.
How long they're going, is somebody regulating the amount of water being let out of there at one time?
Right. That's questions Pete's going to ask them. How much are they going to do it all at once? Are they going to do it in stages?
Well, we need to tell them, no, they cannot.
Okay.
And
I'll
I
let them know.
think DES should be contacted. It's going to drain directly
Yes.
into
Right.
the river.
The DOT should be contacted too because it's going to be affecting Route 3.
Going into their drain.
Yeah.
It's kind of late to get DES up there tomorrow, but I mean,
Tomorrow is when they're going to drain it?
They're
No,
gonna
no.
meet
Tomorrow they're
tomorrow.
doing
they're meeting
they're
on
doing
the,
the
on this.
sprinkler system check
Okay.
in the building itself, and then they're going to talk about draining and all that.
And they're going to
how they're
talk
gonna do it.
about it. So
Yeah.
that's the time when they should decide what they're going to do when they're talking, when they're draining it, what's going to happen, when it's going to go.
Yeah.
We should have been notified about this.
Yeah, we should, I don't think we should really be talking about, we should have them send a specific amount, their flow rates, where just whole thing, the timeline and all that for it, put something in writing. And whether or not, also ask if DES has been approached on it.
Okay.
Well, don't we
Really
have to,
don't have any control over it. It's
but
not
is,
town.
Right.
But common sense, you wouldn't just let her go.
but what about the people that regulate the flow of the river? Shouldn't they be notified? I mean, when you
Dam?
when you put all that water in there and they lower the river upstream, they know what they're putting in for the dam downstream. Now, if we let go all that water here, they're not going to know what's going into the dam downstream. Somebody needs to notify them.
Algonquin Power still on that? Down off Mill Street?
Yes, yes. Mr. Chairman, if I might just add something. Shane informed me about this week. He is off tomorrow, so Pete was going to go. Excuse me, I was going to take the day off, and I still am, but I am going to be there for the meeting because I want these questions answered. Yes, you're right, Pat. It's private property, but it is going to regulate, and I'm going to, if they haven't already, I'm going to make sure that they contact Dana Lacasse from DOT, and everybody needs to be brought into the picture, including the folks at the dam and including the folks at DES. I would think that I was under the impression from Shane that this meeting tomorrow was just to discuss what their needs were. They're not doing anything, but what their needs are, and talk about a plan. And I was thinking that could be reported back to me, obviously reported to you, but I would make sure. But it now sounds that I have a little bit of concern. They're not going to do it tomorrow, but again, I want to make sure that all the players, and there's a plan in place for this. I can only envision, that water going down the road and the way people drive on Route 3,
So
Yeah.
actually, I think it was twice in one year we had a 100-year flood, but
Yeah.
it was very quick. And the culvert that leads from the final one at the corner, after it filters through, completely overflowed,
Yep.
washed everything out. The whole road was
Yeah.
blocked off. It was quite deep.
Mm.
And other stuff washed into it and blocked it off. I
Right.
know I went down there with hip waders and pulled garbage out of the culvert. Wasn't a smart idea.
Yeah,
I wasn't.
but
And it is I believe that's our pipe.
Yeah.
That goes from there all the way down to the river.
Mm.
It's not.
DOT's drained.
That
Right.
is DOT's.
Yeah.
That's DOT's drained.
Doesn't Grant Street tie into that?
I think Grant Street does, and Morrison Avenue,
And
I believe.
Copeland or whatever?
I'm not sure.
Don't know. All the
So-
drains along Route 3 are DOT's.
Grant
Nice.
Street
All the way to the
connects
river.
into it?
Because before what had happened is the other end of it was crushed too by the river. So
Reduce the flow.
yeah,
That's
it was perfect storm here. And
what time is that meeting, Shane? 8:00?
but anytime
Yeah.
you're discharging water
Yeah.
into the river that's not by natural water flow.
Yes.
It's, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So while we have you
Those are
here,
into wetlands because those are actual wetlands too.
what are the plans for the sidewalk along the river between, Riverfront and Park Street?
Oh, yes. We gotta get the curbing done. We're gonna work on that. And I was talking to the guys and they said we can do it. Just the highway department can do it. DPW.
The
can make-
curbing?
But, well, we're doing the curbing. We've
You can
been,
do what?
the sidewalk.
Asphalt it?
Yep.
Okay. This summer?
Be probably in the fall. Right now it's dirt.
Is it hard enough for a wheelchair?
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Any erosion from this rain?
Nope. Nope. It's holding up pretty good.
And I brought up a few weeks ago about why we weren't plowing those parking spaces along that sidewalk and river.
We
didn't plow
did.
it this winter.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Well,
was
we
just
missed it.
We missed it. 2 storms.
Okay.
Run back to back, but we did go down and push the snow over and everything. The state used to come down through there when they were plowing,
Yeah.
but they got a whole new crew, and it's just not something we were thinking of at the time.
Okay.
We figured it out and got it.
Okay. No, that's perfect. Thank you.
So we're in the town administrator's report, Scott.
Uh,
You can-
May I, Mr. Chair, I just want to clarify something for the paving. So right now, as far as I can tell, the board has only approved Morrison Avenue for paving. The tree streets, the estimate that Director Dow had has not been approved at this point.
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
Was
I
the
know.
top coat also
Because
across the street
We
from
require
Morrison?
3
Grant?
estimates
I think that was on
for anything over
the one from Morrison.
$600.
Okay, but we all agreed 2 weeks ago that it-
We didn't agree to sole source
we,
because I certainly didn't.
It was just a discussion.
It was just a discussion.
There wasn't approval.
we didn't take a final vote, but we all agreed it was a great idea.
We all
We agreed.
didn't because I did not.
Yeah. I think we all agreed that
And I'm still not
R&D is
convinced.
like the people that we like to use.
Listen, there are certain tree streets that were held up because there was a mistake on Morrison and Morrison got bumped up. So
A lot of streets have
there's
been done.
tree streets that haven't been done for a very, very, very long time.
Right.
So let's get moving and get some of these things done.
Well, it'll be 2 weeks now.
Yeah, well, that's on us. It's not on anybody else but us, because they're raring to go.
I'm sure Jeff will work with us over it.
I think we have, and at the previous meeting, when we discussed this, as far as what I remember, everybody expressed their, that they like the work that R&D does, and they've always been there. That's-
Everybody did not.
Did you not?
Stop.
Did you not?
I did
No, she did
not. I
not.
sat and listened.
Okay.
No, it was very obviously I was not, I'm never for sole source.
No, I was saying that we were
And I
happy
have
R&D.
no idea to compare one paving company's work to another.
So are you suggesting that we go out to RFPs at this time of the year for our tree streets so that they'll never get done this year? Never.
Well, shame on us, huh?
No. I would say that would be a shame on you because we're ready to go.
Our policy.
We knew it was coming.
Is it $1,500? We get 3 bids? And that's our policy. That hasn't changed. We haven't had that conversation. We've had discussions. Not my fault. We haven't made a motion and voted on it. But that's the selectmen's policy. And it seems to me the selectmen need to start following their policies and not just go rogue. I understand why our public works director would prefer to go with a company he knows and he's used to.
And it saves us
But is it
money.
necessarily going to save the taxpayers money? And we don't know that unless we bid it. And there are probably at least 4 other companies out there.
Yeah.
I know there's one in Meredith that's all women, and they do commercial work. They do road work. But out of those 4, there's probably one that will never bid on our work again. So maybe there's 3 others. But that's where I stand. So stop saying everybody and all, because it's, you know.
It was my understanding that we were happy with the work that R&D has been doing with us, but I wasn't
Flat is
stating.
flat. Let's face it. They either do it right or they don't.
I'm just,
Asphalt,
that's what I thought, but
That
that's
black,
okay. We can,
black stinky stuff.
we know where we're at with this, and we can have some type of proposal.
I'm
and
glad
we'll have
you're
to make a
chair on
motion.
this one.
Yeah. So when Eric gets here, although I believe
Yep.
we know Eric's opinion. don't
We do, yes. In fact, I was going to clarify the March 6th and March 20th, 2025 minutes. This was the discussion, and to basically encapsulate, Catherine was right. There was a discussion about it. There was no, Pat made a motion and then withdrew that motion after a discussion. And yourself, Mr. Chairman, and Chairman Adams were discussed. Your names are used as being very pleased with the work and efforts of R&D. So,
But let
So-
the record show, I withdrew my motion
Correct.
because we wanted to get
Tonnage.
Shane here
and
for
tonnage,
his opinion.
and tonnage cost.
Correct.
Right, correct. That's exactly right, Pat. So,
Not because we
So do we really,
changed my sole source.
I'm not changing my mind. Do we really need to wait for Eric if we know what his desire is?
You,
And I have a feeling it's going to be the majority of the board.
I think you're right. So at least that's my discussion with him, but, and the only reason I suggested holding off, and you can forget I even said that, was, and I know Jeff, and I think Tim would agree, and Shane would agree that Jeff is going to give us the best cost, but that cost is going to be based on, because he's a businessman, he wants, if you want me to guarantee this cost, then you guarantee me the work. And this board has done it in the past. Director Duval was here when you did it one other time.
right.
And so the board knows, in my previous life in another town, we did the same thing.
Yeah, we did this.
Yeah.
Street sweeper.
We
was
did
sole
with
source.
paving, I think, about 4 or
No, we
5
did-
years ago.
You did it with paving as well.
Yeah.
Did with paving.
And they
Yep.
gave us a really
Good
good
paving.
price per ton for all the projects that year.
And
That's
yet
right.
when we did like to like, we got a better price from another outfit.
When we did what? Bid,
That's fine. I know how the vote will go. But I think that I don't see a reason to wait another 2 weeks
Okay.
personally.
I could agree.
I make a motion that we use R&D for sole source paving for our roads, sidewalks.
I'll second.
so we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Or forever hold your peace?
I've already discussed, my opinion.
Is everybody clear on what we're doing? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Let the record show, no.
Thank you, folks. And Director Dow, just make sure that you share that with Jeff, that we have in fact done that, but his pencil needs to be really sharp.
And you'll still bring in,
The
for
quote.
their approval,
Yeah.
the estimates for those.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. He's going to give us a price for the year? Is he going to give us a price for the year or something? Or
He'll be doing everything all together. That's why he gave us a good price on doing the tree streets, because he was going from boom, boom,
Staging
boom.
and here
Yep.
and going around town.
Yep.
But he'll give us a price before he does them, right?
Yeah, he's already given us a price.
And do we have that?
A price for all these?
No, we haven't seen it.
The board has not seen this.
Oh, really?
Because we're waiting for the tonnage cost.
Oh, yeah.
That was the last.
Because this is the one for the,
From March 6th?
yes.
And does it say specifically what they're going to be doing on each project?
Yep.
I can print that out for the board real quick.
Yeah, if we could take a look. Just so that in the previous one, it wasn't very, oh, we got into a little bit of a mess because it wasn't what
Yeah.
we had expected.
Yeah. All right. Just got a couple other questions. Oh, wait. You want this?
And
On page 2, when Tim provides it with you, it says New Hampshire DOT AC price. I would assume that means approved contract price as of the time of the quote is $580 per ton. Does that sound right? Oh, okay. AC price. R&D paving. Okay, all right. So we will, Mr. Chairman, we will have the per ton costs included. This identifies each one of the projects and the total.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to get more clarification on this.
If the
Yeah,
price
you can get-
changed. Right.
Okay, good.
Oh, Lord.
so you had the opportunity to go out with him and show him the concerns and all that.
Yep.
And he's aware of them all. I know
Yeah.
there's been some
Yeah, Maple
drainage
Court.
issues
On Maple Court. Yeah.
that
They're
well,
gonna,
get it finally resolved.
we're gonna tip the road to one side
Mhm.
so that the water drains where there's no houses. Then we'll put
Mhm.
it, the crew will put a swale down through so that it will drain down onto Cedar. And then to the catch basin on the other side of Cedar.
Okay.
That's the plan anyways. Hopefully it works.
Anything else on that? I guess, Scott, what else do you have on your administrator's report? And also want to go into the agreement MOU to, I think, Selectman Constantino has been involved in many of these previous agreements with it. I think you
Oh, the
Has some-
Winniscom.
has some information on it. So if you could touch on that and then,
Yeah, I was going to withdraw it because I thought the questions were answered.
I could just simply just generalize it if
Okay.
you want me to.
Yeah, please, please.
Oh, you want me to do that now?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm going to switch my hat a little bit here. the agreement was that, I mean, we all have the agreement, right, with Tim's,
Same
it's
old
in
one.
Tim's package that the building, based on everything else, we, all permits, we do not charge the fees to the district. The concern was
All right, so I'll just tell them.
building
we need
permits
a
are
few
fine
minutes.
because that comes in one big fell swoop for $8 million from the builder. But we were very concerned at all of the electricians, all of the plumbers that were coming in and getting permits. And they were adding up, 30,000, 40,000, so on and so forth. And my concern was that it was not going, the savings was not going back to the Winnisquam district. It was staying at the savings of the electrician or plumber that was getting that. Tim and I spoke with Rob Berry, and it very much is not going back to the plumber and the electrician. It's all of it's going back to the Winnisquam. So we did the right thing in doing the agreement, because now it is all going back to the district as a savings, and it's not going back to the individual electricians and plumbers because it's all set up and he watches it like a hawk. So
And all those are specifically.
I was
for-
very pleased to hear that, because they were coming in a lot. And that's what we're concerned with. Did I spell that out a little bit?
Yes, and neither of the other towns charge. And Bonnet, Page and Stone, the general contractor, had taken out all fees so that the district wasn't paying any. It's also in my report to the board on the second page. So you'll see basically the synopsis that Selectman Constantino just gave as well.
Mr. Chairman, might I just give Shane the mic? He did have a couple of questions he wanted to ask the board,
Sure.
because I asked him to come tonight, so.
So we're getting ready to do the crosswalks. What color do we want them? Because I know nobody wants blue anymore.
Nobody wants blue?
I
I
like the
didn't
blue.
hear that.
What do
I
you-
like the blue.
Because the blue was something to do with, I think, Selectman Dawson mentioned that colorblind people can't see blue, and that we needed to change the color of it.
I think it was Pat brought that to our attention. I didn't.
I do know they can't see blue, but I never brought that up.
But they can see
so,
the white line.
So what?
On the
color
I am
crosswalks
colorblind and
you're
I can see
asking
blue
us?
fine.
Yeah.
So you want to just keep them the blue?
What are they? What is the most reflective color at night?
I would say put either yellow or green.
Yellow.
Yellow. That horrible state yellow. That
And,
orange
and I,
yellow?
and I know this, Selectman Dawson, because when I ran for sheriff, my digital person that designed my signs said, yellow is the brightest color to the naked eye. Because I wanted blue, because I wanted blue with yellow letters. She wanted me, and she did win. I made them yellow with blue letters. So yellow is the brightest.
Isn't it also what you put in the paint to make it reflective?
Reflective, yes.
Sprinkle glass bead.
Okay.
So you want to do yellow, or
What do we have? Do we have any paint in stock left over?
we have 2 5-gallon pails of blue.
I think we should keep it blue.
2 5-gallon pails of blue.
It's not even cover one
That's gonna do
sidewalk.
what? One
I might
crosswalk?
do 2. I might do 2. Because I think we normally do, just for the ones down here, is 5 gallons? 5-gallon pails. 5-gallon pails.
We'll do the ones at the school further down, the blue, and then
No, that's the color for the school too. Blue and white, isn't it?
So do those 2 down there, blue,
Those down there, blue.
and do the rest from Main Street up
Right.
I do.
Yellow?
Most-
Yellow.
On Main Street. I mean, down there, you know, it's, they've got signs, school, slow down, et cetera, et cetera. But Main Street, man, pedestrians trying to cross our street is,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
scary.
so I'll do that. We'll do the
So
two
what do
down
you
by the
think
school,
The
blue.
most reflective color, or the best color for the naked eye to see on the rest of the crosswalks, because we have more than just Main Street crosswalks. Yellow?
I would say yellow.
That's state yellow?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Because
not
most
this-
of them are just white, two white
Not
lines.
this yellow, right? It's that,
No, it looks like the yellow line.
I've learned many years ago never to get involved in a conversation with women over paint colors or wallpaper. Whatever you
I just
wish.
think whatever is safest.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll do the downtown area in yellow.
Use up the blue up there.
Yep, and use the blue up on the other end. Okay,
Love
so,
Should we
done
do
deal.
blue and white?
well, they got
Yes.
the two white stripes and then be
Yes, dear.
blue and yellow inside.
You're funny.
So, one more question. Memorial Day weekend, Saturday. Can we close the transfer station for the day?
Boy, who wants to barbecue?
Most of the guys, and most of them are taking off for the weekend.
Weekend.
We just had Amnesty Week. I would
Mm.
think that that wouldn't be
It'll be all right.
big inconvenience. You're open Wednesday, right?
Wednesday and Friday.
And it's not this weekend, but the following?
Yep.
I don't mind as long as we
I'm
notice,
fine with it.
put it on the website,
Yeah.
let people know that it's
Mm.
going to be
Yeah, we'll
closed
use our
on
billboard
that
when it
Saturday.
comes back Monday.
I'm gonna get a quick consensus. Selectman Constantino, are you okay with them closing Memorial Day, the Public Works Department, the weekend?
Saturday?
It's easy. We're all good.
Let's Fourth and barbecue.
He'll invite you. Mr. Chairman, I have one last thing from the town administrator's report. While we're talking about sidewalks, I have asked Shane, we have one of those portable yield to pedestrian signs left, but I've asked him to get me a price because I'm going to come to the board. My office, as you well know, sits out here and I see all of Main Street. A citizen with a baby in a carriage stood on the other side of the road trying to get over across. Until the point I was getting up from my desk to go out and walk her across. When she took the liberty to leave the carriage here, went out to the traffic going eastbound and stopped them. Nobody would stop. It's very bad. The amount of traffic, if you could see what goes on right here, people are going around. They're going by the trough to go left on Cannon Bridge. These folks are coming off Cannon Bridge. They're stopping in the middle of the road. This car is now blocking this, and this car is coming this way, and they're cutting across in front of each other.
Mhm.
And I could tell you that, no exaggeration, 35 times a day, they do the UE around the crosswalk to go back up to go eastbound. I discussed this with Director Dow, and I've asked DOT to make sure that we're authorized to do it. I want to make sure we're doing things with permission and that we get the correct DOT approved crosswalk sign. And one of the things that would happen, I think, if we strategically locate it in front of the trough to protect it from getting run over, but a little bit out, maybe we'll stop the U-turn stuff right there. But I've had concerned citizens talk about the next crosswalk down here that comes across by the old Meserves Market. People don't stop there. Put one there and put a third one by Ideal Hall. So we would have at least those three areas covered,
What
which,
about Tilton House?
well, Tilton House would be ideal too, but the state has scolded us for allowing a crosswalk there. But if,
Nevertheless,
Yeah.
there is.
Yeah.
right,
But
Yellow line is so tight down there.
yeah, yeah.
are you talking about the ones that are in the middle of the road?
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
We had those once. They
Yeah.
didn't last long.
yeah,
The tractor trailers, I mean, because, our Main Street funnels, it
right,
gets,
it does.
and then when people,
The
you know,
school buses take them out too.
yeah, when they park,
Those school bus
pull in
drivers are
and park the
dangerous.
trucks, and 5 feet of them is sticking out beyond the parking space.
Yeah.
It,
I,
your path is, you're on the yellow line, just trying to get by them.
yeah, I just think, I'm concerned
I
about
agree we need
pedestrian.
something, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It better be something real
Yeah,
terrible.
they do make spring-loaded ones. The town of Wolfboro bought some because specifically that problem on Main Street, where their Main Street, if you think of Wolfboro, funnels down as it goes down in the dip. But
Across
they
the
made them,
bridge.
I remember that. So, and you hit them and they flop like the old punching bags, you know? So,
Maybe that's what we should be looking into,
Yeah.
because
I know
Chief
we've had,
Cormier got them
we had them
Yeah.
with a
once.
grant.
Yeah, with the floppy ones, it lasted a while, but
Yeah.
the idea is we need to protect the people in the crosswalk.
I do.
That's a good
I
idea.
very much do. So,
Very good idea.
and I'll come back to the board with the price or whatever they are. I do, Director Dow said he thinks they're expensive. I'm sure they are. Nothing's cheap, but in lieu of public safety, I think it's the best thing to do. So, and that's all for me. Anything? You're good? Okay. So I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Were
We-
we going to discuss the
Oh.
legal?
Yes, if you'd like.
Where'd you
Are we
get that?
okay?
What?
Where'd you get that?
I sent
Where'd I
it.
get that last
Yeah,
week?
I handed them out to everybody last week. If we can, Mr. Chairman, that would be ideal. I know that Selectman Adams is in favor of it. I already talked to him, but I'm not speaking for him, but.
Scott, were those handed out at the emergency meeting that we had last week or the one prior?
I'll print some.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have that.
You
So
don't-
you're asking to talk
So if it
something
was on
legal,
the
are you
first, then I
talking
don't have
Or do we
The
want to wait
policy.
for Eric?
public legal, or are you asking for legal?
Legal services policy, yeah.
Do you want to wait for Eric?
I'm fine. I think he'll be fine with it.
Thank you, Tim.
I don't think none of us have expressed our opinions on it.
I
So
in
I think we should wait for Eric.
I'm fine with that, Mr. Chairman, if you want to wait for Eric, but
if I could get a copy of that, I don't have one.
yes, and I apologize, I did hand them out, so. You got my original?
Well, they were handed out?
They were
Ye-
handed out.
Yes,
When?
I made copies last
I
week
think
for you.
last
So
week.
I wasn't here.
Right.
Ah, That's why
we
you
should
wouldn't
wait.
have got one.
So,
That's why we should wait.
so we've got
Let everybody review it.
finance report from Tim.
Anything.
Nothing.
You've covered most of everything. The audit is in front of you. Probably signed and it's 5:35 as well. I can do a few other things. Happy to say that there were no material adverse findings in the audit. So that was good news. Our unassigned fund balance as of the end of the year is $1,047,561, or roughly 7% of our general fund operating expenses. The DRA posts each year with our tax rate setting documents a range that's recommended by the Government Finance Officers Association, and that ranges between 5 and 17%. That they believe, that DRA believes towns should retain as unassigned fund balance due to emergencies, and we are at the lower end of the range, but at 7%. Outside of that, I did have a note in my report regarding ARPA funds. There was one one item left that is yet to do, which is Morrison Avenue. And then there's also a note about a grant that Chief Sitar through the fire district has written that will benefit the police communications as well. There's some work to do on that in terms of finding out. They would like us, the town, to provide fiber access to the lake house at Winnisquam, which is where an additional tower would be located. And so that's something that will probably be coming back in front of you with Chief Sitar and also Chief Gilman at some point in time to discuss further. But it's about $90,000 worth of equipment that's going to be covered. But there is the need for the communication back to our tower through fiber. Outside of that, you had also already discussed the Winnisquam Schools mutual agreement regarding permit fees and use of facilities, which I did note in my report along with a copy of the agreement. And then the last item that I had that I think is important to point out is that with the new fee schedule, the land use department is on track to be self-sustaining for the first time in many, many years. And we have a real good shot at closing that gap. We have a total cost of about $184,000 for the year. And right now we're at a run rate of about $178,000 of revenue for them for the year. So with the summer activity, it's entirely possible we may see, that we fully cover the cost of that department. And outside of that, unless you have any questions, that's really all I have.
Do we know what the total cost for the Chief Sitar's request is for the town of Tilton?
Not as yet. No. More than likely, it's going to be an upfront, a small upfront cost, and then an ongoing monthly recurring fee. That's going to be the bigger cost over time, and it remains to be seen the justification, and it really will come down to Chief Gilman to weigh in on whether this is something that they need, how it's going to affect their communications. Are we able to reduce communication costs elsewhere by implementing this? So there's a lot of considerations.
I want to be on record to say I will not be in favor of this unless, for once, the district pays half of the monthly fees with us.
Then we'd still be paying 60% of it.
Well, they can pay 60% then. They need to pay something. We're forever, anytime we enter into any kind of I've got a grant, can you just pay this? We always ends up Tilton pays without any agreement with them.
I agree. But
And
we
it's
haven't
not
had,
fair.
we haven't had any reports from the chief that we have any problems with our officers communicating.
You're right.
The last thing we did with the tower on Mount Belknap, I thought we were all set.
Well, so
We haven't heard anything.
we relocated our primary our primary repeater to be on Shed Road, which is line of sight distance from our tower, and then the secondary repeater is on Belknap Mountain, the backup repeater, and that's worked. My understanding was that's worked very, very well. So I put this in my report only because it's going to be coming up soon, and this was kind of news to me. Although Chief Sitar said he mentioned it last year, but I never received any kind of anything in writing or otherwise, about this project. So it certainly wasn't in our budget for this year.
No.
But again, it remains to be seen. There could be other savings in communication costs by implementing this. We do pay to be on Belknap Tower. We don't pay to be on Shed Road, although we have shared some of the costs of the backup batteries at the Shed Road tower, and that's worked out very, very well for us. But Any case, this was more of an introductory item, just so that you're aware that that's out there and is going to be coming before you at some point soon. And the only other thing I'd mention is just in terms of timing for this quarter. As Town Administrator Hilliard is well aware, and he's already working on evaluations process. But we're coming up on that time when, in order to get things done by July 1st, we really got to kick into high gear through the end of this month in June. So I just wanted to mention that from my vantage point. Other than that, that's really all I had, unless you had any questions.
Thank you, Tim.
Great, thanks.
Okay, let's see. So we've got, that's our finance report. We have selectmen reports, and Selectman Hanson, you're on first.
I'm good. I have nothing for
Good.
tonight.
And we've got Selectman Constantino.
I just have one question. In the last meeting, we mentioned legal, and my understanding is that we did, and it was brought up at that meeting, that we should be hearing from either planning or zoning if they need help. And my understanding is that we did get a request from the chairman
Of zoning, right,
of zoning
correct.
for an upcoming case
On workforce housing
on to
training.
learn a little bit more about workforce housing and the changes in legislation on workforce housing. So how are we going to deal with that if they, in fact, I don't have the email, so I can't read it to you. So
Why would the zoning board need to know about workforce housing? That's a planning
there's a
issue.
case before them that is before them for a variance that's 62 family homes, 60 duplexes. 20% of that is workforce housing.
Correct.
And it's specified.
The zoning board doesn't determine what goes on a site. They determine hardship, whether it's workforce housing, apartments, condominiums. I mean, I don't understand why they would need to know about workforce
It's
housing.
part of in their,
It makes no sense to me.
well, it might not make any sense to you, but it's not making sense to them and they're asking for help.
But they don't need to know about workforce housing or apartments or condominiums or any of that. They need to know about hardships, you know, whether or not there is one that exists. I mean, there's what, 4 criteria?
5.
5?
5.
That's what they need to know about. And I believe I sent you
You did, and
there's a class coming up for ZBA, and maybe they should
Yep.
take it. There's also
a booklet you
a
sent me.
booklet that's
Yep,
very,
I sent-
very thorough on workforce housing.
I sent
I
that
don't
to them.
think we need to hire an attorney to give a class on workforce housing, especially where it's really a planning issue. And the planning board has yet to have been asked or polled on whether or not they'd like to attend. We just had a planning board meeting Tuesday night, and there was absolutely no mention to the planning board about this. So I would suggest that
Disagree
they,
with you on that one, but go ahead. I mean, we just can't leave them out there hanging. They're asking for help. Do not, this is a committee.
then
Do you
they should-
remember? Wrap your arms around them and help them out as much as we can.
Let's,
This is what we're doing.
I don't waste taxpayers'
please
dollars.
do not shout.
I do not waste taxpayers'
Let's hold
dollars.
voices down at a
This is not
Selectmen's
wasting
meeting.
taxpayers' money when they're learning something about their job.
That isn't their job. It is
It's
not.
your opinion it's not their job.
Zoning board should not be planning.
Mhm.
The zoning board should not be granting somebody workforce housing. It is way more complicated than that. That's a planning board issue.
And one
And they don't
selectman-
need to know what type of dwelling unit is going to go on a piece of property to determine hardship
And one
or special
selectman
exception.
should not be determining what is planning or zoning when they don't, in fact, know everything there is to know about planning and zoning, or the changes that have come up in legislation.
Oh, it's all in black and white. It's all in black and white. And I've been saying this for weeks.
We've asked people to serve on committees voluntarily.
And those classes are available from
You know,
New
they're not
Hampshire.
available before the 20th.
Well, they've been
that's when we
available, and
met.
we've been having this conversation for what, a month?
Uh,
A month, at least.
no, not a month,
Okay.
2 weeks ago.
No.
So, I myself have been watching the zoning board meetings, catching up on them later, and I haven't heard any mention of classes to the zoning board that were offered. You know, or discussion about them wishing to have a class. So
Okay.
it's a zoning board that would make that decision, not an individual on that board say, hey, I want everybody to learn this. Because individually, as selectmen, none of us have power individually, and on the zoning board, none of us have power, or none of them have individual power. It says a group of the committee.
Just remember, knowledge is power. Just remember that.
Okay, so anything else?
Just make sure that this is all on the record.
Selectman, are you all
No,
set?
I'm all set.
Okay, Selectman Dawson?
Mostly questions. What's going on with Caleb Hill Road, the state?
Yes, I'll let Tim address that. Tim has been.
So we are waiting on the engineers to complete their report that the board can then receive and accept the report, but reject the project to the state. The state will not refund us any of the monies until the final engineering report is done and accepted by the board, and then the board rejects the project. So that is what we're waiting on the engineers for the final report.
So my understanding is the board didn't reject the project. We rejected the engineering, feeling that it was not complete enough. So basically, we are saying, no, we don't want to go into this program with the state of New Hampshire with Caleb Hill Road.
That was the understanding from that last, and I don't recall what the date was, but it was held at the police department, meeting room. And after the public hearing, the board discussed it, and either at that meeting or the next meeting had decided to not move forward with taking Caleb Hill Road.
It was the next meeting, Catherine.
I don't remember it that way.
Yeah.
I remember we rejected the engineering because they were reclaiming, the road is a disaster.
Mhm.
The drainage wasn't enough. You can't just reclaim that road. We're going to have another Morrison Avenue.
Mm.
But that's what I thought we did, is reject the engineering.
I think there was discussion over the removing of bumps and line of sight.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was quite a
I
discussion.
That was a huge one.
I don't remember us saying
That was, it was before me.
we're done with the state.
Familiar with this project.
Yeah, I think in one of the meeting minutes, I'll have to go back. I think I asked the board specifically, you do not, correct me, Tim, if I'm wrong, you do not want to entertain doing what the state wants on Caleb Hill Road. And
Right. The
Try-
engineering.
I'm trying to recall which selectman answered that, but my follow-up, as I'm recollecting, was I will go back and tell them that the town's not interested in accepting Caleb Hill Road.
Is that what we decided?
Well, why don't we look into that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll check the minute. There was a discussion, and I do remember somebody making it clear, one of the selectmen making it clear that, no, we don't want to accept this proposal. So I don't know what exactly the language was, but I reiterated that in an email to
Kevin Russell.
Kevin Russell.
Yeah.
Thank you,
It
Tim.
was at the March 6th meeting is what it looks like.
There we go. Yep, March 6 minutes, which are in your book. You should have them under minutes.
And where are we with the town properties? We
Uh,
probably need to have a discussion, what we want to sell, what we want to keep,
Yeah,
how much.
I'm waiting for Greg Pevley to get back to me because there was 2 Mechanic Street and one other, and he was gonna report back to me.
Okay,
And when he does, I'm gonna have him come in just in case the board has additional questions or concerns.
okay.
So,
It's your time.
Oh, I thought you were going to add on to that.
mhm.
Do we have, I know I've asked, and I asked them for a cost breakdown on the Academy Street retaining wall.
Yeah, not done. He did reply back to me today, Tim.
Yeah, I saw that.
And John Chase and
This isn't, no, I'm not talking about the agreement. I'm
right.
talking about a breakdown.
Yeah,
on the
breakdown.
cost.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
John
We did
Chase-
figure we were going to save. He's going to get me the final copy, but we did figure we're going to save somewhere in the range of $30,000.
But
No, I
the
want a breakdown.
yeah, the engineer is working on
Yes.
a more detailed
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
breakout. Yes.
Yeah.
Because this is not.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I
Yeah.
mean,
he's working on it.
it doesn't
Yeah.
give us enough information.
Yeah. He did get back to me today and tell
Okay.
me he would have it.
And now
I
I
think he
am
said the next
interested on
couple of
where we are
weeks.
with the agreement with the water district.
Yeah. And that's those. My email went to John and to our engineer. I got a note back from our engineer, nothing from John as to what they were going to accept in costs, the water district, for their portion of the wall. And we will report back with all of those numbers as soon as I have them.
But their agreement,
The indemnification agreement,
yeah,
Okay.
maybe, I don't know, has this board really discussed that
I think we did.
agreement? Because,
I have presented it
but did we have a real discussion on it?
more than once.
Because, well, no, the sections in here that it's like, no, we're not going to agree to that.
Well, the last iteration removed more than an entire page of indemnification language, and it was you should have a red line, a whole bunch of crossouts on that.
This is March 16th, 2023,
No,
with a bunch of red lines crossed out.
no, there
There's
would be
an
a
updated-
newer one than
Yeah.
that. It would be 2025.
I don't
I
know.
think I've seen one 2025 yet.
This, and
Oh,
this
yes.
is in the front
Yes.
of my
Oh, I've-
book.
I
I didn't
went
put
out.
it here.
I have provided them to the board, and I'll be happy to send them out again. So you can
Yes.
see, you can see the original, and then you can see what was lined out from that. I can tell you that, and Scott will corroborate. I think he's already mentioned this to you in a prior meeting, but Administrator Chase or Superintendent Chase had said that he felt his board would be fine in signing that.
Correct.
That agreement.
Well, the section under property damage? No.
I'll send you out the latest and
Newest
greatest.
one. Yeah.
All right, that'll be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm all set. Thank you, Johnny.
Okay, so I don't have a lot to say. I can express my extreme disappointed that I don't feel I was notified about an emergency meeting. An email went out. That's hardly an emergency. I've been serving on boards 30 years in this town.
Hmm.
Many boards with a total of, I believe it's 68 concurrent years on different boards. I've never, ever missed an emergency meeting. I've gotten phone calls and follow-ups on stuff, but I didn't get any phone calls. I didn't get any type of notification beyond an email, which is not a way to notify anybody of an emergency. So I'm extremely disappointed. And even when nobody saw me here, why somebody didn't call me?
Mr. Chair, I mean, if I might add to that, the day of that meeting, I asked Eric, Chairman Adams sent the email out himself, and I did get it, and everybody was copied, and I'm trying to
No,
find it.
I'm just saying, sending an email
Oh.
is not an emergency notification.
Right.
It's
A
not
phone call,
sufficient.
a phone call, text, or whatever, to make sure that that person got, and that's why
Yeah.
I've been doing it that way for many years, and everybody else on the board.
Okay.
And in fact, the week before, when John wasn't here,
Right.
it was a regular meeting. Somebody sat here at the meeting, said, "Hey, John's not here. Let's call him up." And he said, "Hey, I'm on vacation."
Right.
Why at an emergency meeting
Mm.
wasn't I given the same
Yeah.
respect
So
and do that? I think that was
yeah.
very, very wrong.
Okay.
And I don't even know what went on at the meeting. I don't have copies of anything that was handed out. I don't know what decisions were made.
It's in tonight's minutes, but I did ask Eric in a follow-up conversation. Eric, are Catherine and John coming? Because he had heard from everybody else except for you, John, and Catherine. And he said, Catherine emailed me, she's coming, but I have not heard from John. So that's but
And that
I
was
will-
email, yeah.
yes,
And
I
think
will.
We've always made phone calls. When Pat was chair, she'd call me up and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
John, we got
Okay.
this emergency."
So you got to understand, this is his first time as
Yeah.
chair and first time emergency meeting. So,
But we
yeah,
have,
I understand what you're saying.
Catherine
I got
get
a
it.
and
second,
Pat.
I got a second email because I did not respond to the first. I
Right.
was like, how am I going to do this?
I understand how you feel.
know,
I would
a
feel
poll-
the same way.
yeah.
And I will make sure, John,
Yeah.
in the
And
future.
I
Yeah.
believe last month I actually discussed this before,
Mm.
and I gave my work phone number
Mm.
as well as my cell phone number.
I have your
card number.
numbers. Yep.
And everybody had that. And when that meeting started, did anybody say, "Where's John?"
I did.
And they did it for John.
Yeah.
The
Right.
other John, at a regular meeting, did anybody say, "Hey, I heard from him, let's call him"?
Yeah.
Quarter mile up the road. I
In
jumped right in my car.
Yeah, in the future, Mr. Chairman, I will make sure that when our chairman calls an emergency meeting, that I make the phone calls or Amy does in the office to everybody. I did think that something, was up because he had heard from everybody else except for you and Catherine. And I did follow that up and did say, did you hear from John and Catherine? Yes, Catherine got back to me because he said I sent the second email. Now that
Anytime there's an emergency meeting, that we
Okay.
have to really make sure that we get in touch or make a good, every effort.
Yep. I will take care of that, Mr. Chairman, in the future. Yep.
I think everything else is good. I don't know if typically they would have done the street sweeping from 93 into the center of town. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's, I wish Director Dow was here because I've been chasing him on that, because the chief has been chasing me and
this
is
is-
concerned. But he does have dates picked. The dates that they did Northfield, and Northfield, it was a different company because he had trouble finding the company.
I think we're talking about different ones. I'm talking about the state.
States, yes,
The state, we only do railroad track to railroad track,
right,
but the state has, I know they skipped us last year.
Yeah.
Doing they'll do the bridge over 93. They'll
Yeah.
start coming down and they'll just turn around there. But to go in front of the old PD the
Right.
sand has been there for 2 years,
Yeah.
blocking up part of the storm drains. And
Yeah,
it's
it is.
just for
It is.
bicycle riders. And
Yeah.
it's dangerous.
And I will ask them tomorrow. I think I'm sure Shane had a conversation with them because we didn't want to do, the chief of police wanted to do all of some other streets, including some of the state roads, because of his concern for safety. And Shane said, I'll coordinate with the state to make sure that they're going to do them so we don't have to pay for it. But I will follow up and make sure that we get a date for street sweeping from the state.
I'll let you know as soon as I see it, them go.
We should be telling the state to sweep their roads that need it, not
Yeah, they
doing them
skipped
for
last
them.
year. I think that's it. I haven't had a lot of luck talking to getting in touch with the new manager. It's not like Casey. Casey was very
At the-
respondent.
Right.
Yeah, I've
So,
had the same problem.
yeah. And for the past 12 years since Lowe's went in, I
Mm,
think it's 12 years, I've been mowing the lawn
there you go.
out there, pruning the bushes, doing all that. And I don't know if they want to put some flowers in for the sign there or if they want to donate some.
Mm.
You know, I'm willing to do the work, put them in and everything, but I don't know if you can.
I can tomorrow. I'll be there in the morning.
You know,
I'll
give them a
find
call.
out. Yep.
Give them a call and
Yep.
say, you know, do they want to give us some flowers and that to
Yep.
put in? We can put them in for the sign. Are they
Yeah.
still okay with me doing that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I had
Yeah,
a-
they are.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be doing
Yeah.
it.
That's right.
Yeah, it's in their, it's in their contract.
Right.
And it just wasn't getting done real good.
Yeah.
And going from 150 acres
They're
to
very good to the
0.22 acres,
community.
I actually enjoy doing.
Very
Yeah.
A bigger lawn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like take pride in how the town looks. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't mind doing
Absolutely.
it.
I know you
don't
do.
mind at
Yeah.
all.
And I can shame them very well.
Flowers. and that.
I'll take care of that tomorrow.
Thanks.
Our selectmen mow this and trim it and take care of it. Do you think you might be able to donate some flowers that he would be willing to put in to make it look pretty? I don't think there'll be an issue.
Maybe a little shrubbery. But yeah, that's it. Thanks, Scott.
You're welcome.
So let's see what else we have. Chairman Adams is not here tonight. For us, and the next thing we have
Abatements.
The
Everything's
abatements.
been signed.
Mhm.
by everybody except for myself.
Okay, because you got the
I
long.
try to pay attention to this stuff.
I'll get you some breakfast.
I'll get. And
We do have a non-public. Yes.
anything else from public? I do not see anybody online. Is there anything else anybody wants to say while we're?
I have
before we
a
go through?
question. The non-public, the RSA that we're using, outside of the 8, I know it's 91A.
Hmm.
Can you double check 2C?
I have three.
It should be 3C. I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's reputation. Yes.
okay, thank you. I
Yep.
feel a little bit better about that.
Yep. No, good catch. Good catch, Selectman Constantino. 91-A:3, Roman 2, small c. So
Thank
I
you.
have a question.
you're right.
What's going on with the trough and meeting with them?
The hoot,
Masons.
the trough. Yeah. I'm waiting for a date from you and from Eric. I sent you an email.
Oh.
A date, pick a date, a day of the week that you could meet in the week. And I will ask Ronnie Dunlop, I'll give him a date and we'll meet and go out front and take a peek.
So, just do a date. I'm gonna have 3 munchkins, but I can park the car out front. and-
Okay. Any specific time, Catherine, during the day
Yeah, only if it's after 5:30.
after 5:30?
But no, I'll have the munchkins during the day.
Okay. So
So
anytime after, like, you got to feed them lunch
I'll
first
just,
or
I'll,
after lunch?
I'll do something to entertain them. It's
Okay.
not gonna take long.
No.
And I'll be right there.
Okay. Okay.
He's safe too, looking at it too.
Yeah, yes, and during the day, I agree.
I can park where I normally park.
That would be okay.
Is that it? Anything else? Okay, so the time being, where's the clock on there? 6:49 PM. I make a motion to move into non-public per RSA 91A:3(3)C. Matters which discussed in public would likely adverse the reputation of any person other than the member of this board unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement, waiver of fee, fine, or other levy if based on inability to pay or poverty of the applicant. Second by Dawson. Roll call vote.
Constantino, yes?
Hanson, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
Dawson, yes.
This conference will now be recorded.
A board meeting and was going to share with the board and said he would get back to me if there was something that the town could do to help. I have not heard anything, so maybe they've got anything underhand, but he did appreciate and was going to share that we reached out to him.
We use the variable message board
Yep,
to let people know that the
Yep.
parade is going to take place. Maybe
Yep.
we'll get some spectators.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm good.
See what you just did?
What?
No. You just asked him to do something without the board's approval.
I could have called the chief.
Oh.
Now's a
That's
good
even
time.
worse.
Now's a good time
That's
for
even
this.
worse.
I make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
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 I don't